Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Hold My Nuggets Incorporated for your 2019 NFL Week 7 post-game analysis show. I am the host, the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis. But before I break down the games of Week 7, let me first point out the elephant in the room. Last week, on my post-game analysis show, when I was talking about the Ravens taking on the Bengals, and I mentioned the Ravens stats, and I talked about Lamar Jackson, I talked about Gus Edwards, I mentioned their statistics from last year's game. Let me tell you exactly why the numbers got mixed up. I was getting ready to compare between last year's second game, in which the Baltimore Ravens only won by 3, and this year's game, and the similarities between the two. However, looking at my paper, I had written last year's stats first. So when I was reading it off, it never computed in my mind that I was saying incorrect stats. So I would like to thank everybody who pointed it out to me, DM'd me on Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube before I changed it in the pinned comment and pointed out my mistake. Those who messaged after, read the comment. Don't skip a pinned comment to comment on something that was in the pinned comment. That's stupid. Use your common sense. But let's break down exactly what transpired in Week 7. First and foremost, Thursday Night Football. All right, what transpired? We had the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Denver Broncos in South Park in Mile High. What transpired? It's for real estate. Not for long, though, because Patrick Mahomes, my kneecap, dislocated, and he had to leave the game. Insert Matt Moore. Did the Denver Broncos take advantage? Absolutely not. They did not generate any form of pass rush. They were not disruptive at all. And the Kansas City Chiefs ultimately did whatever the hell it is that they wanted to. Tyreek Hill found his way into the end zone. Offensively, they played well. Defensively, they were getting after Joe Flacco. You talk about no time in the pocket. This man had zero protection, all right? There were no condoms in the backfield whatsoever. Offensive line coach, I believe it's Mike Munchak, is it not, who came over from Pittsburgh? But correct me if I'm wrong, but good Lord, that offensive line needs work, okay? The running game, non-existent. The passing game, non-existent. And more importantly, moving forward, this is going to suck for them because they just traded Emmanuel Sanders today. Or matter of fact, this is on Wednesday afternoon. They traded him yesterday to San Francisco. So it looks like Denver, it's headed downward. But for Mahomes, he's going to be out for a little bit of time. The injury looked way worse than it actually was. I'm hoping Andy Reid doesn't rush him back. But I think the Chiefs will be able to, play good football. I think they're playing against the Packers. I'm going to have the pregame. I'll figure out what it is moving forward. But I wouldn't rush Mahomes. Roll with Moore. If you take an L, you take an L. I recognize the AFC West. It's really just a two-team race between the Chiefs and I'm drawing a blank on the other team because I know the Broncos, the Chargers, and there's another team in the AFC West is going to come to Houston. No, it's Houston's in the South. Who else is in the AFC West? Who else is in the AFC West? Why am I drawing a blank here? Denver. Oakland. Yeah. If I'm the Chiefs, rest Mahomes. I'm not really too concerned. Teams ain't really gonna chase you like that. And by the time Mahomes gets back, he'll carry you to a playoff berth. Now, regarding the seeding in the AFC, that is something that you want to get. You want to get that first round bye. You want to contend with the Patriots for that number 1 seed. But given that you already have 2 L's, the Patriots fixing will probably only lose 2 games for the remainder of the season, if that even happens. So if I'm Andy Reid, I'm resting Mahomes. I'm not rushing them back. But good victory for the Chiefs, 30-6 over the Denver Broncos. Next, the Rams taking on the Falcons. Necrophilia. Matt Ryan got hurt. I believe it's an ankle sprain that he sustained, but no matter what this man tried to do, nothing. The Rams rolled over the Falcons 37-10. You talk about utter domination. It was 30-3 at one point, I believe. It was just disgusting. And more importantly, the Rams didn't score until like late in the second quarter. All right, they had a missed field goal, they had a fumble, and then afterwards, they had a missed field goal, then they had a field goal made, and then they scored with Todd Gurley, and they proceeded to watch the Falcons do absolutely nothing. And that's unfortunate. And for the Falcons, they went on to trade Mohamed Sanu yesterday to the New England Patriots. So they season done. And they couldn't stop a soul defensively. I feel bad for Dan Quinn. I mean, not really, because, you're a defensive-minded coach. Your defense is getting torched. Regardless of whether people are available or not, you got to do a better job, like I always say. And for the Rams, it looks like they finally got back into their groove. However, you played against a very bad, struggling Falcons team. So we're not sure how things measure up for the Rams, but they did get out of that funk of losing 3 consecutive games. So hopefully they can pick it up, because the way the AFC, or I should say the NFC West is looking, you might have to fight, because you're not fixing to win the division the way things are looking for San Francisco and Seattle being at where they at and how the Rams are playing. So you got to get yourself into the wild card race. But the NFC North ain't playing no games, because every team looks like they could possibly make the playoffs. So this is going to be very interesting down the stretch. But good victory for the Rams. Next, the Dolphins taking on the Bills. Bills held it down, man. The Bills held it down. I was a little bit concerned, because you did see Ryan Fitzmagic-Patrick, rather than being Ryan Fitztragic, lead them down the field. He had that grown man run where he fed somebody a shoulder pad, went into the end zone, cut the deficit, and then on the onside kick, Micah Hyde caught it out of midair and took it into the end zone. I've never seen something like that in my entire life. All right? And Josh Allen, I like the way that he looks. He looks poised, although it was against the Dolphins. You play against whoever lines up against you. The Bills look solid, man. 5-1. They're playing good football. You got to give credit where credit's due, man. On week 1, I said, hey, the Bills going to be better. I ain't expect them to be this doggone good. I like them. I like them a lot. They taking care of business. Damn it, they keep playing football like this. They could be a force. Offensively, they just got to get that pass game, as consistent as that run game, and they can make things happen. For Miami, get ready for next week. Why? You're going to lose. Next, we had the Jaguars taking on the Bengals, in which we saw the Jags win 27-17. You talk about taking care of business. Gardner Minshew took care of business. For the Bengals, AJ Green, I wouldn't come back this season. I'll just chill, wait until next year, ask for a trade. I would not come back. The Bengals looking absolutely atrocious. Do I think they'll end the year winless? No, I think they'll get a win. They're better than the Dolphins. They're in games. They're in games. They just don't have what it takes to win. For the Jags, they did pretty good. They took care of business through the air. Gardner Minshew, 15 for 32, 255 yards and a TD. On the paper, it doesn't look that good, but he played solid for the most part. On the ground, Leonard Fournette rubbed his nutsack all over that Bengals defense, as everybody has been doing all season. Running 29 times, 131 yards. Sensational performance. Might I add, Gardner Minshew damn near ran for 50 yards on the ground himself. For the Bengals, did absolutely nothing. Andy Dalton threw 3 picks in the 4th quarter alone. You can't win football games like that. It's about time somebody make a move for Red Rifle, because I do not think he's going to remain in Cincinnati. His stay has been passed. It's over, fam. Take the L out of Lover. It's over, brother. Time to find a new quarterback. Get him out of here. Vikings taking on the Lions. Marvin Jones, can you smell it? People in Minneapolis, can you smell it? Because I think the stank, it traveled on the nutsack, or I should say from the nutsack of Marvin Jones to the shoulder pads and jerseys of every single one of the Vikings defenders. Although they reek of this man's pelvic region, although they smell like this man's scrotum, it wasn't enough to get the Lions the victory. Why? Because Kirk family member Cousins went out there and orchestrated that offense like a well-oiled machine. You talk about over 300 yards passing. Threw the ball into the end zone, I believe it was 4 times. Sensational game, man. He took care of business. 42 points from the Vikings. They played very good back-to-back weeks. Offensively, they look solid, and I like that. I like that, as Kirk Cousins would say. You like that. Playing good football, man. Take a look at this man's numbers, because he took care of business. 24 for 34, 337 yards, 4 TDs. Dalvin Cook on the ground, 25 carries, 142 yards, 2 TDs. If this offense can play like this, they'll win football games. Bottom line, if I'm a Lions fan, I would not feel very down and out, because the Vikings were playing very good. Some of the plays in which they succeeded on, what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? When people play good football, there's only so much you can counteract with that, man. But Matthew Stafford, he played a solid game. 30 for 45, 364, 4 TDs, 1 INT. He played good. I'd like to see a better run game, but granted, the situation in which it became a shootout, it is what it is. Every single time, you're not going to have a Kerryon Johnson go over 100 yards as scarce as it is. But nonetheless, good victory for the Minnesota Vikings, winning 42-30. Then we had the Raiders taking on the Packers in Lambeau Field. Oh boy. Well, let's say this: the Raiders, they were up 10-7. They were winning 10-7. Yeah, and then Aaron Rodgers happened. 6 total touchdowns, 1 rushing, 5 passing. He discount double checked all over those supposed Gruden grinders. They could not stop this man. He did whatever he wanted, whether it was Jimmy Tunn, Jimmy Owls, Jimmy Pound, Jimmy Graham, whether it was Marquez, Valdez, Scantling. It didn't matter who it was. He found his men all over the field, and he's doing this without Devontae Adams, man. Just wait until Adams comes back. More importantly, the Raiders, not only can they not cover a tight end, the running backs, Jamal Williams through the air, Aaron Jones through the air, Gruden. Offensively, you guys are looking better, but defensively, come on, man. You gave away Khalil Mack. I'm hoping that defense can start to play better, but offensively, I like the confidence that these guys are playing with, but I'd like to see more. They had the goal line stand on 2 different occasions, one in which Derek Carr butterfingers back-to-back years, pardon me. He did it in 2016, 2017. You have this man fumble the ball out the back of the end zone when diving with the left hand. Maybe try diving with the right moving forward. And Josh Jacobs tried to Mario dive into the end zone only to no avail. This is tough because this is a game that should have been a shootout because offensively both teams were doing whatever they really wanted. Honestly, all right. The Raiders' offense looked good, and I really like the way their tight end was playing. Was it Waller? I believe it was Waller. Darren. This guy, he could be a stud, but it wasn't enough to take over the Packers. Packers got a big time win, 42-24. The Texans taking on the Colts, in which we saw the Colts win 30-23. I enjoyed this game. This game was very fun. I love the poise that Jacoby Brissett plays with. All right, this guy, he's the real deal. He stepped up, and I told you guys coming into the season, if they can protect him, I'd like to see how he plays. They're protecting him, and damn it, that man is balling, okay? 26 for 39, 326, 4 TDs, no interceptions. Sensational masterclass performance. Marlon Mack, this guy didn't really do too much. 44 yards. However, when he ran the ball, it put his team in a little bit of a position to where the second downs were feeling a little bit more comfortable. You had 2nd and 7s rather than 2nd and 9s. You had 3rd and 4s rather than 3rd and 8s. So, although it wasn't a lot of yards, it was productive running. Then you had Zach Pascal, who simply could not be covered. 6 catches, 106 yards, 2 TDs. T.Y. Hilton, he always finds a way into the end zone when he plays against the Texans. All right, 6 catches, 74 yards. And on top of that, Eric Ebron, 4 catches, 70 yards, and a TD, and a magnificent procratudinous one-hand catch. The Colts took care of business, man. The Colts took care of business. And I'll say this regarding the Texans. They were robbed a touchdown to DeAndre Hopkins, I believe it was, when Deshaun Watson evaded the rush, and then they were holding him, and he released the ball only to find his man in the end zone. But they ruled him down by contact. I believe that's bullshit. I understand calling the play down. However, it's a judgment call from referee to referee. I don't think it should be reviewable because you can't just overturn that if they blow it on the field. But good Lord, man, that's tough. That's so let him play football. We saw this last year when Marshawn Lynch was getting pushed back. He broke off the tackle and he started running off, and they blew the whistle dead. Let guys, until you see that there's no possible way they can break the tackle, then call it down. If these dudes are still fighting for extra yardage, let it ride, man, because those points, they needed that, because ultimately the Texans gave themselves a safety to try to get the ball back, and they did. Then Watson got picked off. If I'm a Texans fan, I'd like to see a better job from the D-line. But outside of that, It was a hell of a game from the Colts. Big time W for them. Moving on to 4-2 in a division that both these teams are going to be fighting for to see who the hell's going to win. Next, the Cardinals taking on the Giants. Welcome back, Saquon Barkley. Did it help the Giants win? Absolutely not. Danny Dimes, nothing. Kyler Murray, are you bigger than a fifth grader? Took care of business. Chase Edmonds, MetLife Stadium might as well be named after him. This man went to Chase Bank, cashed checks, made deposits in the end zone, withdrew yards, deposited them into the end zone for scores. Because this man did whatever the hell he wanted. Whatever he wanted. The Giants couldn't do anything to stop him. And they tried to make a little bit of a comeback, but it was to no avail. Alright, early on, the Cardinals jumped out to a lead and the Giants had to play catch-up. The Giants not really that good at playing catch-up. Yes, earlier this year, you saw it happen against Tampa Bay. But outside of that, have you seen it transpire? Absolutely not. Well, last week, they were losing 2 scores to the Patriots. They lost. They ain't scored in the second half. Against Arizona, Arizona looked good. They won 3 straight W's, all right? 3 straight. Kyler Murray's balling, man. Look at the way this man plays when he's in the pocket. His pocket presence, the way he moves his feet, the way he throws the ball, the touch on the ball, the trajectory of the ball leaving his hand, going into the air, arcing and getting to the receiver. Magnificent. Magnificent. I did not see this coming at all. Okay, I don't know what the deal is. Those Oklahoma quarterbacks, they come in. Well, Baker Mayfield. They come in, they take care of business. All right, I'm hoping, Baker can pick it up. And next year, I'd love to see what's going to transpire with Jalen Hurts because he's balling in college right now. But Kyler Murray, masterclass performance. These past couple of weeks, he's been balling, man. He's been balling. Big time W for Arizona. And the Giants, that defense, remember a few years back when they had that $200 million defense? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Next, the 49ers taking on the Washington Redskins in the nation's capital in a mud bowl. This game was dirty. All right? Dirtier than a Kardashian vagina. I don't know what the deal was. There was mud everywhere. It reminded me of when Pittsburgh played against Miami in 2007. I remember listening to that game on the radio. That's how old I am. But, good Lord, the game ended like 3-0 too. I believe Jeff Reed hit a field goal. I don't know if it was a game-winning field goal, but I think it was at one point. Somebody remind me. Guys, Pittsburgh Steelers fans or Dolphins fans who remember in 2007. Or matter of fact, anybody who goes and looks it up. Because really, at the end of the game, I'm probably going to end of this video, I'm going to search it and find out when he kicked it. So, by the time you type it, I'll already know the answer. But nonetheless, all right, let's make this a little bit interactive. No, he actually kicked it in the middle of the game. Whatever the case was, all right? This game was dirty. Absolutely dirty. Offensively, both these teams really could not get going. The weather played its role. On the ground, Adrian Peterson, he fumbled. Now, when he got fumbleitis, nobody has a good game when Adrian Peterson has a fumbleitis. He can run for 500 yards on the ground. He fumbles twice. He's not going to be happy. Somebody protect his kids. But he ran 20 carries, 81 yards, and that fumble through the air. Case Keenum had 12 passes, 9 completions, 77 yards through the air. Offensively, they did absolutely nothing. Jimmy Garoppolo, 12 for 21, 151 yards, and a magnificent interception coming straight out of halftime. But on the ground, Tevin Coleman, 62 yards, Matt Breida, 35 yards, and, back and forth offensively, nothing was really happening, but the 49ers found themselves in which they got that fumble off of Peterson. They were in field goal range. I believe they had there was a big play that put them into field goal range. I'm forgetting what it was. Was it a pass to Kittle? I think it was a pass to Kittle. I can't recall. But whatever the case was, they took care of business. They remained perfect. And, defensively, I like the way that they played, man. That defense is looking like it's something serious. That defense is playing good football. They got 3 sacks. When it came to time of possession, they had the football 33 minutes. This is something that needs to be considered. More importantly, Washington had 7 penalties that will not help you in a mud game. So that's something that you want to consider moving forward. But by Miami, for Washington, you're a lot like Miami. Next week, you're gonna lose. Next, all right, we had the Chargers. Go Chargers, go, taking on the Tennessee Titans. I would love to cover what transpired in the first 3 quarters, but let's just jump to the 4th, where the Chargers tried to mount a comeback. Austin Eckler found himself into the end zone. Magnificent pass from anti-condom, no pull-out poppy, Phillip Rivers. Then, what happens? The Titans do nothing. Melvin Gordon. No, before we get to Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler dives into the end zone. They mark him They call it a touchdown. Go to review. Mark him down at the 1. Next play, Melvin Gordon runs into the end zone. Nope, they say he fumbled before he got in, which he did. He recovered the ball across the end zone. That should have been a touchdown. Whatever the case was, we go to second down. He tries to dive and loses the football on the dive. He just said yesterday, on Tuesday, his holdout failed. Well, given your performance, you failed too. 32 yards. 32 yards? Melvin Gordon. Then these back-to-back fumbles at the end of the game. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You saw the man crying on the sideline. Rightfully so. You should be crying. You should be crying. Everybody has bad games, but good Lord. Good Lord. Back-to-back opportunities. You fumble. I mean, come on, man. This is one of them situations you got to look yourself in the mirror. And let me just point this out. Regarding Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill took care of business, man. He played a very good football game. Marcus Mariota was supportive on the sideline every time they put the camera on him to go see what the hell the deal was, to see if he was going to have a little bit of, salt on his food. But he was actually a little bit supportive. Tannehill went 23 for 29, 312 yards, 2 TDs, 1 INT. Derrick Henry, 22 carries, 90 yards, 1 TD. Offensively, for the Titans, it was outstanding to watch Tannehill play, man. He played the way people was hoping he'd play consistently in Miami. And ultimately, Tennessee walked away with the W. Los Angeles, you're looking like Los Angeles from between 2013 to 2017, where you find ways to lose games. This is y'all. Y'all have reverted back to your roots. All right, that's no good. Next, the Saints taking on the Bears. Oh my Lord, Mitchell Trubisky. This is the story of the game. All right, Mitchell Trubisky. Could he throw down the field? Remember what I told you guys earlier in the season when I said the Bears offense, if they run the football 35 times, if they throw short intermediate passes, they can win. However, if teams take that away, Mitchell Trubisky has to be able to stretch the ball down the field, and I have zero confidence in him throwing the ball vertically. This was one of those games that proved my theory. There's questions about, is he the guy? I'm not one to pull the plug early, but good Lord, bring somebody in to give this man some sort of pressure to go out there and perform. That was an atrocious performance. 34 for 54, 251 yards, 2 TDs, no INTs, but those 2 TDs came so late, it didn't even really matter. Because through 48 minutes, through 53 minutes, he did nothing. Nothing. On the ground, they ran the ball. Get this. They ran the ball 7 total times. Tariq Cohen, 3 carries, 10 yards. David Montgomery, 2 carries, 6 yards. Cordero Patterson had 1. Anthony Miller had 1. Outside of the kick return from Cordero Patterson, they did nothing in the first half. Nothing in the third quarter. And then all of a sudden, we're going to come alive in the fourth. Was a little bit too late. Defensively, they're not getting any help. A lot of people, well, the Saints put up 36. They're not getting any help. If your defense is constantly having to be on the field for a ridiculous amount of minutes, what are you going to do? The Saints possessed the ball for 37 minutes. 37 minutes. Teddy Bridgewater balled out. All right? 23 for 38, 281, 2 TDs. Granted, the numbers don't look sexy, but he played with a very good football IQ, enough to get his team the W. On the ground, the most Latavius of Murray's, 27 carries, 119 yards, 2 TDs, playing good football, man. Alvin Kamara's not there. Drew Brees' Jesus is not there, and the Saints is still sitting at 6-1. They still sitting at 6-1. They're one of the better teams in the NFC, if not the best team in the NFC, barring, the San Francisco 49ers being undefeated. I still say the Saints is a better football team, but golly, man, they're playing sensational football. But if you're a Bears fan, Mitchell Trubisky gotta play better football. Bottom line. Matt Nagy, you're calling the right plays. You are. It's not on you. I'm sorry, it's not on you. It's on Mitch. Mitch, play better, brother. Play better. Next, Pardon me. Ooh, I had to go burp. Next up, we had, was it Sunday Night Football? No, pardon me. Was it the Ravens taking on the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle? Now, this game, you saw Marcus Peters, who just became a Baltimore Ravens, intercept a pass, taking 67 yards into the end zone and score. Great for him. 2 defensive touchdowns for the Ravens. DK Metcalf, hands just for decoration. Homie fumbled trying to switch the ball from his right to his left hand. Then proceeded to look on the floor, extremely perplexed as to where the football was at. Only to get batted, I think it was by Earl Thomas, picked up by Marlon Humphrey, ran into the end zone. The defense of the Ravens took care of business because they turned those turnovers into points. And that was the difference maker. That was ultimately the difference maker. Because offensively, it was nothing special happening. Lamar Jackson was the only person on offense who worked. He had 116 yards on the ground, 143 yards through the air, 9 for 20, which is atrocious. But on the ground, 14 carries for 116 yards and a TD. Their lone offensive TD. It was enough to get him the W. Russell Wilson, who was pretty much the leading MVP candidate, he kind of took a shot here. 20 for 41, not your best game. 241 yards, not your best game. 1 TD, DK Metcalf, like I told you, the fumble, and Chris Carson didn't really play the best game with 21 carries for 65 yards. If I'm a Seattle fan, I'm not really too worried, but I'd like to see a little bit of better, execution from our skilled positions. The Ravens, good win. Believe me, good win. Not every week you're going to go out there and ebb and flow offensively. However, I'm still concerned about Lamar Jackson passing the football. Because last year, remember, Baltimore was running the ball down people's throats for the last 6 games of the season. And once they saw Los Angeles in the postseason for the second time that season, they could not run anywhere. So if I'm Baltimore, it's great. Good W's. Should not question, the victory, because a win is a win. However, at what point are we going to get this passing game going? Because if you become a one-dimensional sort of situation where, Lamar's just going to run, teams are going to start trying to shut that down way better than they are right now. Granted, if it's working, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I'd like to see the man throw the football. Seriously. Because if he's going to keep going out there and running, he's going to turn to a Vic situation or mess around and get hit. And now he's going to get treated like Cam Newton. And you don't want to have to lose your man Lamar Jackson. So figure out a way to get this man to throw the football. Next, we would advance to Sunday Night Football. Eagles taking on the Cowboys. Necrophilia out in Dallas. Ezekiel Elliott, sensational game. The Eagles could not protect Carson Wentz, let alone make this man hold on to the doggone football because he was getting hit and he had pressure all damn day. Nelson Aguilar, occasional hands Aguilar, pardon me. He didn't extend his hands. He alligator-armed a pass when he had Heath by like 5 yards. What? Let's just talk about the stats, all right? Cowboys. Dak, 21 for 27, 239 yards, 1 TD. Ezekiel Elliott, 22 yards, 22 carries on the ground, 111 yards, 1 TD. They played very good football, all right? Dallas took care of the football. More importantly, time of possession, they had it for 32 minutes, 5 more minutes than than Philly had. On third down, they were over 50%, so that's a good thing as well. And Brett Maher connected on a 63-yard field goal. So all 3 aspects of the game, they played good football. For Philly, though, Carson Wentz, 16 for 26, 191 yards, 1 TD, 1 INT. Outside of that TD to go dirt early, they never really got going. On the ground, Jordan Howard, 11 carries, 50 yards. Not good enough. Dallas Goedert was their leading receiver. 4 catches, 69 yards, and 1 TD. That's not going to fly. The other guys got to step up. Like I told you guys coming into this game. Zach Ertz, 2 catches for 38 yards. That's not going to cut it. Alshon Jeffrey, 2 catches for 38 yards. That's not going to cut it. Nelson Aguilar, 2 catches, 24 yards. It's not going to cut it. They desperately need Deshaun Jackson back. They need that person to stretch the field. And their corners, garbage. Couldn't guard anybody. Are you kidding me? Could not guard it. Amari Cooper was rubbing his nutsack over Jalen Mills and Orlando Scandrick. And damn it, that's exactly why Orlando Scandrick got cut yesterday morning. because they could not guard this man. Amari Cooper was getting whatever the hell he wanted. All right? You can't play football like that. 5 catches, 106 yards. He owned that defense. And ultimately, them boys got themselves the victory. And finally, Monday Night Football. Cut off. The Jets taking on the Patriots. Absolute Ted Bundy necrophilia. When you talk about a team getting shellacked, Sam Darnold, 4 INTs, 1 fumble lost, and a safety. When you talk about an offense being able to do 0, and I'm not even making a joke about the points that they scored, this was the epitome of it. They had 3 shots, I believe, in the red zone. No, 2 shots in the red zone. INT, no points on the board. Safety, the snap goes over his head. Passes off of his back foot. There was no sort of mechanics that was at work for Sam Darnold at all. This was a game in which everything that could go wrong went wrong. And the Patriots took advantage. Brady even threw a pick. He got pressure. He got hit from behind. Ball went into the air. Intercepted by Tremaine Johnson. Only to see them give the ball right back. And I say keep the ball away from Devin McCourty. He was the first person to catch an interception on Darnold's first pass of the game. Atrocious. Le'Veon Bell coming into this game, 4 times he played against the Patriots when he was with Pittsburgh. 3 of those he had over 100 scrimmage yards. This particular game, that was not the case. If I'm the Jets, I am embarrassed at this performance. If I'm the Patriots, that was a masterclass performance defensively. Absolute mastery. Sony Michel turned into Sony PlayStation 3 Michel, as in 3 touchdowns that he got on that Jets defense. Tom Brady didn't even have to do much. And like I said earlier when I was talking about the Falcons, they just picked up Mohamed Sanu. So they're just getting better by the week. It's hard to see these Patriots teams losing, man. I think they can be beat. I think they will be beat this season. But it's going to take a sensational performance because I don't see them in a situation in which they beat themselves. Earlier this year, the Bills would have probably been able to pull off that W. However, Josh Allen ended up having to leave and Matt Barkley came in and he couldn't get the job done. But the way the Patriots playing right now, defensively, they're taking care of business, man. They are absolutely taking care of business. And who the hell's going to stop them? Not the Jets, because the Jets, after last week, when everybody jumped the gun, oh, Sam Darnold's back from mono. They beat the Cowboys. Look at the way that he played. I think he's better than this person. I think he's better than that person. And he just went out there and laid an egg. You heard him on the sideline talking about, yo, I'm seeing ghosts. Well, damn it, you are seeing ghosts because it was playing Mario Party and Boo came to you and stole your coins. By the coin was the football and took it to the other team. That's why the hell you had 6 goddamn turnovers. Terrible football. Terrible football. But big time victory for the New England Patriots, remaining undefeated. All right, but that has been your 2019 NFL Week 7 post-game analysis show. I thoroughly enjoyed the games this week. I'm expecting a sensational week of football in Week 8. And keep in mind, all right, my what the hell is a completed pass, pardon me, what the hell is pass interference in the NFL is coming up next week. So I'll be making another video and I'll let you guys know, hey, it's coming up this week. Send me every single play from this season that you can find regarding pass interference, and we're going to break it down similar to what I did with what the hell's a catch in the NFL a few years ago. But this is, as I said, that's been the 2019 Week 7 post-game analysis show. I am your host, the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis, and I'm headed back to the Shadow Realm. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Week 8 pregame predictions.